Falls Creek will be remembered for generations, generation after generation. It doesn't matter whether you went to Falls Creek the first time in ancient history like I did in 1965, or if you're going to Falls Creek this year in 2009.
It's a place where God starts life change, whether it's in someone who's been looking for it and is seeking out God to do something big in their life through the week, or whether it's someone who really doesn't care.
I think Falls Creek will probably be remembered most by the life-changing decisions that took place in the hearts of students and adults that have attended Falls Creek.
People are saved there. They're called into ministry, called into missions.
Falls Creek's going to be remembered for being a place that's set apart, that is sanctified by God for His purposes, for His glory.
Everybody that goes comes back with the same concept of what it means to go to Falls Creek, to hear the voice of God in your life, to worship God like you never have before, and to be blessed entirely.
He can speak anywhere, but he really speaks at Falls Creek.
It's obviously a week without television, without radio, without internet, without so many distractions that come our way in everyday life. But it is set apart for God to meet with every individual that comes on those campgrounds.
And because there are no distractions there. And I think once you go, you remember it for having a one-on-one encounter with Christ. And I think that's probably the one huge thing that I remember about Falls Creek, and I think that Falls Creek will be remembered for is that they met God there.
Falls Creek, although it is earthly in the sense of buildings and material and things like that, the difference that God has made in the lives of people who have gone will impact and is impacting eternity.
I really don't think the guys that started Falls Creek even had a glimpse of what Falls Creek would be in the year 2009 when they started it almost 100 years ago. That thousands of kids would come to the Lord, that students would be called to ministry, be called to missions, that in any week that 6,000 kids would come on their campus, on these campgrounds. What an amazing place, what an amazing dream that these guys started that continues today and that has grown today.
The amount of people who surrender to missions, the amount of people who surrender to ministry, the amount of people who give their hearts to Christ while at Falls Creek.
It is a legacy. It is a powerful thing in the lives of people who have gone. When I go back to Falls Creek, that Falls Creek experience is there again. It never changes. It just keeps moving forward, and it brings momentum to our spiritual lives.
I don't know if we'll ever be able to measure that. It has made a legacy of believers.
I think that's what it will be remembered for, is a start of life change. Not that camp changes us, because the real deal is when we get home, but I think it's something that God uses to quiet our minds so we can listen and say, what does God want to do in me?
That grows year in, year out, that has a legacy of students meeting with God.
Falls Creek in its own right leaves a legacy just by itself, just the word Falls Creek.
It's made a legacy of missionaries, it's made a legacy of ministers, and the impact they're having on this world, simply put, is a legacy in and of itself. Falls Creek is good and it's pretty, and the buildings are nice, and I love that it's air conditioned, but the legacy that it is leaving and the mark that it is leaving on humanity, you can't be measured. It's simply put, it's making a legacy of people.